in the middle of nowhere. So
our neighbors are Eustace and Muriel, bruh.
Literally. We have like Eustace's kinder brother.
His name is Wayne.
His name is Wayne. Wayne's a amazing person.
This man came out onto his porch in his boxers with a rifle because somebody was on our property that shouldn't have been.
He did. He comes toting out. He's got a shotgun in his hand, and he's wearing nothing but like baggy soul box. And this is an older man, mind you. Like this is not
65, 70.
Yeah, he's an older guy. And he comes out and he looks around because we had somebody driving to our yard and we're outside talking, and he was concerned because he'd never seen this car. Comes out and he goes and stares over the fence line holding his gun, and we see him coming, right? And as we're walking up to meet the people in our yard, as we're like yelling out, he goes, "Y'all all right?"
Yes, sir. Thank you, Wayne.
"Yeah, Wayne, we're doing okay." "All right, I just making sure you knew him. You know him, right?" "We do, Wayne. They're friends." "All right then. Long as you are, you call me. You call me if you need me." All right, Wayne. So Wayne toddles back into his RV, toting his shotgun. His boxers are just swaying in the non-existent breeze.
So I make him desserts and we have a neighbor attack redneck.
We do. Wayne's a damn good man. You know what's funny is we've had one altercation with an old boy down the road. That man is a piece of shit. This is a new segment called Tales of the Rednecks. So the old boy down the road is a giant piece of shit. Him and his wife and their brood.
I don't really likes them.
Well, you know what? If they were fucking less than rude, it'd be a whole other story, but they ain't less than rude. First of all, you won't drive up onto somebody else's property in your fucking shit can of a
golf cart.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that thing is. He comes pulling up with his brood, and he pulls into Wayne's yard, which was your first mistake. Ain't nobody pulling into Wayne's yard except us or his brother. So this old boy pulls up, and the reason that he was in Wayne's yard is because we had our gate shut, because we had some horses with no branding, or so we thought, come wandering in to our yard. So we fed them and kept them there because we didn't know who they belonged to. We were trying to figure out, who had horses that had gotten out. And these horses were untouched, mind you. It was a filly and a mama, right? So I'm like, all right, we'll just keep them in the yard. We'll take care of them, make sure they got food and water. So we pulled the troughs out, gave them everything that they needed, right? So a couple days later, the only person I can think of that these horses could belong to is this dude. And he's a stockbroker, which basically means he leases out bucking horses and bulls and stuff and cattle to rodeos. There's two kinds of those types of people, and they're either real good old boys or they're pieces of shit. This guy pulls up into Wayne's yard and proceeds to start saying, "Well, they got our horses." To which Wayne comes out and he looks at him and then looks at us as we start to come up because we know what he's there for. And we come up, we look at Wayne, Wayne looks at us, he looks at them and he goes, "On my property?" And I'm like, "You fucked up." So this old boy starts accusing us of stealing his horses, to which we're the ones that called him, mind you. All I asked him for was paperwork to confirm the horses belonged to him, which is fucking normal when you own livestock. And there's some instances where they call them grade, and basically that means if a horse is sold grade, there was no paperwork. But what there normally will be is some kind of a receipt transaction, a bill of sale, some kind of proof that you own that horse, so that if the owner comes back and says, "Well, they stole my horse," you can be like, "No, this some bitch sold me the horse," right? So I asked for proof from this guy, and I'm like, "I just need to confirm these horses are yours, because anybody can come up and say they belong, right?" And he's like, "Well, you're gonna have to talk to my daddy." This dude's like 50. This dude's like 50, okay? And I'm like, what? So he calls his fucking daddy after I ask him to provide this paperwork. And he's like, "Well, I don't have any." And Wayne kind of looks at me and he looks at him and he goes, In my yard? And I'm like, y'all gonna piss off Wayne, okay? No, literally, he does it. He's like, "Do you know who my father is?" Except in, translated as, "Yeah, I'm gonna call my daddy."
Yeah, can he maintain his fence line better than you?
Fuck that. The whole reason that these horses got out in the first place is because this guy does not maintain his own stockyard or the property surrounding it.
Because this is not the first time we've had cows in our yard.
Yeah, his fucking cows wandered up in our yard one time, and that's why we started putting hay in the barn. His cows came up through the wash into our yard and started eating our hay.
I want to point out that like stock cattle and stock horses aren't cheap.
No, they're not.
Just letting a couple grand's worth of money float around into other people's yards because you can't maintain your fence line.
Mind you, the cattle that wandered up here was not marked. They didn't have any indication of who or what they belonged to. So, the horses, the filly didn't have any markings whatsoever. The mama, to which I then get on the phone after this guy calls his daddy. I gotta backtrack myself a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Mom won't let you talk to my daddy. The fuck? Alright, so he calls his fucking daddy. Very first thing this motherfucker says, we're separated by a barbed wire fence line. Wayne and this old boy and his brood are on that property, and we're on our property with the 2 horses standing behind us, mind you. To which his wife has not stopped talking shit, by the way. Oh no! The very first thing this old boy says to his daddy is he goes, Yeah, I found him. Well, no, she stole our horses and now they ain't trying to give them back.
We called you to come get them, you fucking idiot.
And I'm like... So I look at him, and then he proceeds to go, well, hold on a minute. And he puts his phone down and walks over to Wayne. Yikes! So I asked to talk to his dad, because I'm like, well, fuck, if I can't get anywhere with you, at least maybe I could talk to your daddy, right? He hands me the phone finally. So I'm on the phone talking to the dad. While I'm talking to his daddy...
So I'm standing there next to Wayne. Wayne is here on the barbed wire fence. I'm immediately on the other side. And next to Wayne is this go-kart with this bitchy wife and her children that won't stop. Autumn is on the phone with the dad, and then next to Wayne is the guy who's useless. And while I'm sitting there talking to Wayne, and mind you, I've been talking circles with this man while Autumn's on the phone with the dad saying, hey, I get your frustration, but these could be anybody's horses.
We're just trying to confirm that the horses belong to you, and all I asked for was paperwork.
If they were my horses, I would have paperwork, whether I'm a stockbroker or they're just riding horses. So he turns to Wayne, standing right in front of me, turns to Wayne and says, can I talk to you over here for a second? And I flew off the fucking handle before Wayne could bother, and I said, no, you fucking cannot. Your horses are in my yard, not his. And the only reason you're in his yard is because you didn't open the gate and trespass onto mine. You chose to trespass on his yard.
Oh, yeah.
And Wayne stopped and looked at him and looked at me and went, yeah, it's you need to talk to them. I'm just sitting here to make sure everything goes over smoothly. And this guy looks at him and looks at me and is like, he just shuts up at that point. It's like, you're not going to sit there and do that, because he didn't know that I was transitioning, but you're not going to do the misogynistic,
well, I want to talk to the man in the situation.
No, bitch, you didn't maintain your fence line and your horses are in our yard and you were too stupid to do that. So now you get to deal with the consequences.
No.
It's not my fault you're a shitty stockbroker.
Nope. So the daddy on the phone proceeds to tell me that not only does he handle majority of the livestock in that particular section of the state, but that he has trusted his son to deal with this livestock and these horses and shit. And I'm like, okay, well,
First mistake.
I'm looking. Where's the brand? Where's what? I need to confirm these horses belong to you. That's all I'm asking at this point. Because any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come up in here and tell me that's my horse. And then he goes,
well, there should be.
I said, there should be what? And he goes,
well, there should be a brand.
And I'm like, all right, well, where is it? I shit you fucking not. It is an M this big. Okay.
Horse brands, so we're clear, are usually like 5x5.
And they're on pretty specific locations of a horse. Right on the shoulder, the rear leg.
Some assholes do it right here on their face, but we
don't condone that fucking behavior. Or you get them on the back ass of the horse, right? But as far as this guy goes, I shit you not, it's a brand this big that looks like a scar from a fight on the upper hip of this horse. Like, you cannot tell that this is a brand. So there's a brand this big that looks like scarring on the upper hip of this horse, and it literally takes me 5 solid minutes of telling this guy, hold on, let me look, to try to figure out if that's a brand or a scar.
These aren't walk up to them and pet them horses.
No, you can't.
Rodeo horses, they're basically feral horses.
Yeah, you can't approach them. So finally, I get enough space to check this horse out, and I can see that it could look like an M, and I'm like, well, where should this brand be located? And he goes, well, it's on the upper hip. And I went, okay, so he proved that much, to which I look at the filly and I'm like, well, she doesn't have it. Well, this fucking woman that this man has brought, his wife, comes up And she goes to the fence line, and she not only leans over this barbed wire fence and starts pointing and shoving her phone in my face. Stop it. So I walk over and I hand this old boy back his phone, and I'm like, here, whatever. So she's all leaning and pointing, and she's,
Well, I got a picture of that horse and that filly.
and I said, okay, cool, let me see it. The horse in the photo, the filly, does not look then as the horse does now, which is common as a horse gets older. They can change coat color. You know, sometimes they can look different. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt, and I basically told him, you know what? Get the fuck off my property, first of all. I said, you come get your trailer, come pick up these fucking horses and get them out. By the way, you owe me 2 days of feed. So they leave. Wayne looks at us and he goes, that was interesting. I'm like, I'm sorry they came up on your property, Wayne. He's like, well, as long as they left. And I'm like, fair enough, Wayne. Here's the key note to this particular story, and it's my favorite piece.
2 days of feed. Other than us not getting the 2 days of feed.
Yeah, we didn't get the feed.
No.
So interesting story about the stockbroker. This particular man was in my Instagram DMs a month and a half prior.
I may have made that clear to his wife.
And this is not just that kind of thing. Like, he saw me one day when we were out, proceeded to look me up, and then hit up my Instagram DMs. And I'm not talking about like, hey, how are you doing today? You know, like normal conversation. No. He was commenting on shit. And I know it was him because he was dumb enough to put pictures on his Instagram. This was not a lurker account. Cool. So he pretended this entire time, by the way, to not know me.
While I was talking to the wife at one point, because she tried to get me to reason when she was talking to the dad, I looked at her and I said, I understand that you guys are frustrated, and I understand that this is tough. But we don't really know you guys that well outside of, you know, the interactions that your husband has had with her, like on Instagram and through text and stuff. But that being said, because we don't really know you that well, we need to figure this out from a legal standpoint.
How do you think I had his number? I had his number because he's like, well, you should come over for dinner sometime. I think it'd be nice. And then he dropped his number. How did I get your number, Ted? So this motherfucker, pretending that he does not know me after we had clarified with his wife, like, how do you think we had your phone number? But that's fine. Like, we're gonna text you.
Hey, I just want you to know I'm stealing your horses.
Right? So he drives up with his stock trailer to come get these horses.
We're in Act 3 now.
There's a part 3. Comes through the fence line. We let him in, whatever. Well, there's a pickup truck following him. Mind you, his wife and him are in the truck. The people behind him is another man and woman in a pickup truck. And I'm like, I said you could come get your horses. Who the fuck are they? This old boy, I shit you not. And we're talking about top tier level fucking Joe Bob from bumfuck nowhere. Okay? Comes, gets out of this truck like Captain Misogyny, like I've never seen. Comes up to my gate, to which I shut as I'm standing there on him and this girl. And I'm like, I'm sorry, do I know you? Well, we're here to help him. Help who? I gave him permission to come get his horses, not you. Well, we work for him. That's fucking nice. I still don't know who you are. Well, you're gonna have to let me in so that the fuck,
I ain't doing shit on my own property.
No, I ain't letting you on my property. What you mean? And he stops and he stares at me and he puffs up his chest. I shit you not, this man puffs up his chest. Meanwhile, the woman who's with him does not say a word. She's just looking at me, looking at him, looking at me, expecting me to listen to him because he's a man. And so I stand in front of the gate and he goes, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to contact the sheriff's department considering that you committed a felony. I what? Well, I'm gonna have to, What are you talking about? You stole his horses, so we're gonna have to make sure that this is dealt with appropriately. No, we don't, because I asked for your name. I ain't gotta give you shit. Well, you're coming onto my property. I don't know who you are. You're demanding entrance onto my property. What is your name, sir? First and last name? I ain't gotta give you fucking anything. Well, then I guess you'd better call the sheriff's department so that you can politely tell them that you're attempting to trespass on my property when I don't know you and all I asked was for your name. You gonna call the sheriff, or do I need to call the sheriff? I thought you were gonna call the sheriff. I ain't fucking dealing with this. So he fucking traipses off to his truck with his chest all puffed out and goes to like punch in some shit on his cell phone. Meanwhile, this girl has not moved and she's looking at me, and I kind of glanced at her and I said, "Ma'am, I apologize. You're here to help them?" And she said,
Oh, yeah?
and I said, "Okay, can I just have your name, please? I'm gonna change it because I don't, what?"
Mary.
Okay, and Mary, what's your last name?
Johnson.
Okay. I said, "All right, Mary, you can go ahead and come in. Thank you for giving me your name. That's all I asked for. Let me know if you need any help. I'm happy to try to do what I can to make sure the horses get into the trailer uninjured and safely. By the way, you understand by entering my property, you're responsible for anything that happens to you or anybody else?"
Yeah.
So he watches from the truck as I let her in, and he just turns fucking crimson. He's so pissed. Hits the truck into gear, tears reverse out of our long driveway, and just fucking leaves. And leaves this girl here.
Meanwhile, while this is happening at the gate, Ellis is sitting on top of a hay bale with a beer, not helping or lifting a finger. The rest of them are now scrambling, trying to catch two feral horses and corral them into a small horse trailer in our yard. And they keep looking at me like they want me to help. So I just keep drinking and laughing loudly as they fuck up or they trip over stuff or the horses evade them. And eventually, after about 45 minutes,
Literally 45 minutes.
they manage to get the horses in the trailer, and when they do, they shut the trailer and haul ass down our driveway and don't say a word.
Once they're in, I walk up to the truck as all of this debacle's going on and they're trying to get the horses in the trailer. I walk up to the truck and this man's sitting in the truck, and I record and I tell him on the recording, I'm like, "Hey, I'm just letting you know that I'm going to be recording this, and I need you to present your driver's license, your first and last name, advise that you are picking up these two horses and that you are claiming that they belong to you." So he did everything I asked him to do. Mind you, he's shaking while he's doing it. And I said, "Great." I said, "So you also understand that anything happens from this point forward and has happened during the time on my property, that you are responsible for anything regarding yourself, your friends, anybody on my property who is not myself and my partner, as well as the animals in question. We're not responsible, nor do we assume any responsibility while you're attempting to maintain control of your animals that you lost track of in the first place."
That was a lot of big words for him all at once.
And he just goes, yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, great."
Okay, bye!
And then they fucking leave. And Wayne comes out about 10 minutes later and he goes, "You get dealt with?" "Yeah, Wayne, we got it dealt with." "Aye. Oh, well, that's good." If you happen to see them come anywhere back near our property, though, Wayne, because our gate's going to be shut, because I saw them eyeballing our horses, you have permission to handle it as you see fit. You got it. All right. And then he goes back into his trailer. And we took him, what did we take? We took him a cake. Was it a cake?
Strawberry cake.
Yeah, we took him a strawberry cake. So, yeah, that's it. I don't think we've ever told that story.
Not on a live.
Mm-mm.